Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today we have a craft bourbon on the cask. So let me show you that to you. That's Ranger's Creek 0.36 Texas bourbon whiskey. So it's whiskey not from Kentucky. It's a bourbon, but it's not from Kentucky. You are allowed to make bourbon everywhere in the United States now, and so they made whiskey in Texas, and they say they want to make not a Kentucky bourbon but a Texan bourbon. I've never tried any whiskey from Texas yet, so I'm really excited about what a Texan approach to whiskey is. So what is inside this whiskey? Firstly, it's a craft distillery whiskey, so there is not a lot of heritage going on, but there's relatively new whiskey distilleries, so they're a bit experimenting and they're finding out. So this is their small caliber series, and I will come to that later. It's a 48% ABV, 96 proof whiskey, and it's all done in San Antonio, Texas. Where does it say? Ranger Creek Distilling, San Antonio, TX, Texas, in the United States. So it's a bourbon. You're allowed to make it anywhere in the United States, but it has to have at least 51% corn. And according to the website, it has 9 to 18 months for the small caliber series of maturation in smaller casks. So they don't use the American standard barrel of 200 liters, 52 gallons, but they use smaller barrels, and that means they have a faster maturation because you have more wood per volume of whiskey, so there's more interaction going on with the whiskey and the cask, so you get more of the wood sugars and more of the flavors from the casks into the whiskey, and that's why it has so much color. It gets the color from the wood sugars, from the caramel inside the wood, because you toast the wood and that caramelizes all the sugar that is inside the wood. That it's what the tree is living from, and that caramelizes it, and that gives you the color and the flavor. So I thought about 0.36. Is that like size? Is it like 0.36 liters? No, it's 0.375 liters. So what's going on here? So I did a bit of a research, and it came out that they named themselves after a famous pistol, a famous revolver, and it's the Colt Patterson revolver. You know, when you have a Colt is kind of a thing now to call a pistol a Colt. Back in the days, Colt was the biggest manufacturer, so all the pistols that were used in Texas were mostly Colt pistols. And this Patterson Colt was the first repeating firearm that was sold to normal people, and the repeating firearm with a revolving cylinder. Before that, and even way before that, when they had muskets, they had like pistols or like guns with like 20 barrels, and then you could shoot 20 rounds, and then you had to reload all the 20 barrels. So this time you could shoot five rounds, and then you only had to reload. You only had one barrel, but side effect was you had to disassemble the gun to reload, which is probably a big hassle if you're in a fight and you run out of rounds. So they fixed that later, and it's a long story. We're not a channel about guns, we're a channel about whiskey. So they just play with the thing that Texas and guns, and I don't know. We care about what this whiskey tastes. That's probably the most important thing. And I read a bit of reviews online, and they had these typical descriptions of the typical bourbon flavor for this whiskey. So it should be pretty sweet, vanilla, popcorn, caramel, kind of that. You do get a lot of sweetness. Do get caramel at the beginning. popcorn note there. But also I get a bit of a honey note. Yeah. There's a little fresh note of flowers, honey, but a lot of caramel, a lot of vanilla, a lot of sweetness. 48% ABV. Got quite some kick. You do realize it's a bit younger. You have a lot of sweetness, a lot of the bourbon flavors that we love, but there is that freshness. There's a hint of a little bit of an alcoholic note behind that. A little bit of an alcoholic note, but you can remove with maturation, with a longer maturation. There's just a hint. It's the flavor is really impressive. So the flavor kind of distracts you from that. It says, yeah, here I'm a bourbon. I got a lot of flavors, and at the end you do have a little bit of a 48% ABV, bit of alcoholic note. The maturation in Texas, when you think of Texas, you always think desert, very hot. And I looked it up, and right now, summer for us in the northern hemisphere, they do have 36 degrees Celsius. That's 96 degrees Fahrenheit for you Americans. So they do have very hot conditions. So that's what gives them a very fast maturation, where you get this strong flavor, this strong color, because the heat is expanding the barrel, and then the barrel interacts with the whiskey. So you do have a very strong flavor for a 9 to 18 month old whiskey. So yeah, it's a good bourbon. So that was it with the review. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, then please feel free to forward this video to your friends. Maybe you know someone in Texas. And thank you, and see you next time.